If a dog can learn to sit in about an hour of training, how long does it take a pig? Most people guess faster. Pigs are supposed to be smarter, right? That is the claim that floats around the internet. Smarter than dogs. Fourth most intelligent animal, cognitive abilities comparable to a 3-year-old child. The numbers sound impressive, but when the actual training starts, something happens that nobody warns about. The pig looks at the treat, looks at the person, and decides whether the deal is worth it. That decision, that pause, is where the whole comparison gets complicated. Because it is not a question of whether pigs are smarter. It is a question of what smart even means when the animal gets to vote on whether she participates. After the last 3 videos covering myths, home prep, and real costs, this one is lighter. And after running these comparisons with the whole crew over several weeks, the results were not what anyone expected. My name is Bob, and what started as a simple curiosity turned into the most humbling series of experiments this house has ever seen. The first test is memory, and this one is not close. Pigs win decisively. The setup is simple. Hide a treat under one of the 3 cups while the animal watches. Shuffle the cups, see if the animal finds the right one. Dogs perform well on this test when the delay is short, a few seconds between hiding and searching. But as the delay gets longer, dog performance drops. At a 30-second delay, most dogs are guessing. At a minute, they are lost. Pigs at a 30-second delay still find the correct cup with consistent accuracy. At a minute, performance barely changes. At 5 minutes, the pig still remembers. At 24 hours, some pigs can return to the same room and go directly to the location where the treat was hidden the day before. That is not short-term recall. That is spatial memory operating at a level that most dog breeds cannot match. The pig remembers where things were, what was there, and how long ago she last checked. The kitchen audit that happens every night at 3 in the morning is not random. It is a pig running a memory-based inventory against her mental map. That system is formidable. There is a version of this test that goes further. Hide the treat while the pig is not in the room. Bring her in. She has no visual memory of the hiding. All she has is her nose and her knowledge of where treats have been hidden before. Pigs still outperform dogs on this version because they combine olfactory tracking with spatial memory from previous sessions. She does not remember seeing the treat being hidden. She remembers that this room has historically contained treats in 3 specific locations, and she checks all 3 before expanding her search. That is a database, not a guess. The second test is learning speed. A new command, a new behavior. How fast does the animal figure out what is being asked? This is where dogs have a genuine advantage, and the reason is not intelligence. It is motivation. Dogs are genetically wired to cooperate with humans. Thousands of years of selective breeding created an animal that wants to please, wants to respond, wants to earn approval. A dog hears a command, sees a hand signal, connects it to a reward, and repeats. The feedback loop is fast, clean, and reliable. Most dogs can learn a basic command in 10 to 30 repetitions. A pig can learn the same command in roughly the same number of repetitions, sometimes fewer. The mechanics of learning are comparable, but the consistency is completely different. A dog that learns to sit will sit on command hundreds of times in a row. A pig that learns to sit will sit on command roughly 4 to 6 times before she starts evaluating the transaction. Is the treat the same as last time? Is it worth the effort? Has the novelty worn off? If the answer to any of those is no, the pig will look at the person, look at the treat, and walk away. That is not a failure of intelligence. That is an animal that calculates cost versus reward in real time and makes independent decisions. Dogs learn faster in a structured training environment because they are built to follow. Pigs learn comfortably, but execute selectively because they are built to negotiate. The third test is problem solving, an obstacle between the animal and a treat. A closed container, a latch that needs to be lifted, a barrier that can be moved, pushed, or circumvented. This is the test that changed the entire picture. Dogs approach a problem-solving challenge with persistence. They paw at it, mouth it, push it, try the same approach repeatedly, and eventually either solve it or give up and look to the human for help. That last part, looking to the human, is critical. Dogs frequently outsource problem-solving to people. They are collaborative by nature. When a dog cannot solve a puzzle, she turns around, makes eye contact, and waits. That is not a failure. That is a feature. Dogs evolved to solve problems cooperatively with humans, and that strategy has worked for thousands of years. Pigs do not look to the human, not once, not during any of the tests. A pig approaches the container, studies it, walks around it, nudges it from multiple angles, and then applies a solution. Not always the first attempt, but the approach is systematic, not repetitive. A pig that fails on attempt 1 does not repeat the same action on attempt 2. She adjusts, she tries a different angle, a different force, a different strategy. In tests using latched gates and food dispensing puzzles, pigs consistently solve novel problems faster than dogs, with fewer total attempts and without requesting help. The boss of the herd, the one who runs the house like it was built for her, figured out a lever-style latch on a gate in under 2 minutes. She tried pushing first, then nudging, then lifting, and when the lifting worked, she stored that information and has never used any other approach since. 2 minutes, one solution: permanent memory. The same latch was presented to a neighbor's dog. The dog pawed at it for 4 minutes, then sat down and barked until someone came to open it. Both animals wanted the same thing. They used completely different cognitive architectures to get it. Test 4 is social intelligence. This one is nuanced because both species are social, but in fundamentally different ways. Dogs are oriented toward humans. They read human faces, follow pointing gestures, interpret tone. Dogs are possibly the best non-human species on the planet at understanding what a person wants. Pigs are oriented toward their own social group. They read other pigs, track hierarchy, remember alliances and conflicts, and maintain a mental model of their entire social network. A pig can remember which pig took her food 3 months ago and still hold a grudge about it. That is not a joke. That is documented behavior. In terms of reading humans, dogs win clearly. In terms of social complexity within their own species, pigs win clearly. Both are forms of intelligence. The difference is direction. Dogs point their intelligence outward toward the human. Pigs point their intelligence inward toward their own social calculations. Neither is smarter. They are smart in different dimensions. The 5th test is the one that reframes everything. Stubbornness. Dogs are almost never described as stubborn when they follow commands. They are described as obedient, loyal, eager to please. Pigs are frequently described as stubborn when they refuse to comply. But stubbornness in a pig is not a lack of understanding. It is a surplus of evaluation. The pig understood the command perfectly. She processed the reward. She calculated the effort. And she decided the deal was not good enough. That is not disobedience. That is executive function. The ability to override an immediate reward in favor of a longer-term assessment of value. In cognitive science, that is called inhibitory control, and it is one of the highest-order cognitive functions measured in animal intelligence research. The pig that refuses to sit for the 6th time is not being difficult. She is being strategic. She is preserving her leverage for a better offer. And the fact that this frustrates owners does not make it less intelligent. It makes it more. The grumpy one demonstrated this perfectly during the training experiments. First 3 repetitions of a new command, flawless. Perfect execution. Treat received, command completed, no hesitation. 4th repetition, she slowed down. 5th, she looked at the treat, looked away, looked back. 6th, she walked to the other side of the room and lay down. Not confused, finished. She had decided that 3 treats were the going rate for a new trick, and the session was over. No amount of negotiation changed her position that day. The next day, with a higher value treat, she did 6. Calculated. Deliberate. On her terms. The thing is, the whole comparison misses the point if the goal is to declare a winner. There is no winner. Dogs are brilliant at being dogs. They cooperate, they respond, they bond through action. Pigs are brilliant at being pigs. They calculate, they remember, they negotiate, they protect. The real takeaway is not which one is smarter. It is that living with a pig means living with an animal that will never do something without deciding it is worth doing. Every command is a negotiation. Every treat is a contract. Every interaction is a transaction evaluated in real time by an animal with a memory that holds grudges and a decision-making system that would make a contract lawyer uncomfortable. And honestly, that is the part that makes them endlessly interesting. Next video answers the question that every pig owner asks quietly. What does the pig actually do when nobody is home? A camera was set up, the house was left empty for half a day, and what happened inside was recorded. The first 20 minutes were fine. What happened after that was not. That video is going to be a hard one to watch, but it matters.